Hey everyone, welcome to the first devlog. So, I've been trying to make a proper action game for a long time now, and I keep getting stuck. Either I overthink everything, or I restart the whole project from scratch. At this point, I probably have like 50 unfinished projects just sitting on my hard drive. And if you're a fellow game dev, you probably already know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm also working a full-time job, so finding consistent time to work on a game and make YouTube videos has been kinda tough. So this time, I'm doing it differently. I'm starting small, I'm documenting the process, and I'm just gonna see where this goes, without stressing about finishing a full game right away. All right, so here's what I'm working on right now. The project I'm working on right now is a third-person action game with the working title Blade. It's inspired by games like Prince of Persia and Dante's Inferno, especially how they combine movement, traversal, combat, and atmosphere. This game will have similar ideas when it comes to traversal and combat. And I also want it to be story-rich, even though I haven't put too much thought into the story just yet. I've played both of those games a lot, and they really stuck with me, not just because of the mechanics, but because of how good they felt to play. They're the kind of games that made me stop and think, yeah, I'd really like to build something that feels like this. Right now, the goal isn't to finish a game. It's to build a prototype that I don't abandon after a few weeks. Something that feels good enough to want to keep polishing. Something I actually enjoy working on. And if it reaches that point, who knows? Maybe it turns into something I can release on Steam one day. But for now, I'm not thinking that far ahead. The reason I'm taking this approach is because I've tried to make a lot of games before without proper prototyping. I'd spend weeks building modular, scalable systems, both in blueprints and in C++, before I even knew if the game was actually fun. And honestly, that never really worked out in the end. So this time, the focus is just on getting the core experience right, making the movement feel good, the combat feel solid, without overscoping things too early, or putting unnecessary pressure on myself. One step at a time. Since I'm working on this alone, I'm trying to be really intentional about how I spend my time. I'll be relying pretty heavily on Unreal Engine's newer features wherever it makes sense, mainly to speed things up and avoid reinventing systems that already work well. That way, I can spend more time on what actually defines the game, like how the combat feels and how movement and traversal come together, instead of fighting the engine or rebuilding things from scratch. To get started, I'm using the latest version of Unreal Engine and the default third-person template. I prefer starting from something simple and well-tested, then shaping it into what I need, instead of building everything from scratch on day one. As a solo developer, that gives me a solid foundation right away. I'm also being careful about which systems I use. If something has a steep learning curve or adds too much complexity early on, I'll skip it for now and implement a simpler version instead, just enough to support the prototype. When setting up the project, I also grabbed the game animation sample test map and brought it into the project. Mostly because I'm already kind of sick of looking at the default third-person map, and it's just a much nicer environment to test movement, traversal, and animation work in. It just makes testing more enjoyable. The first real goal for this project was to get a smooth, responsive locomotion system in place. Before touching combat or any advanced traversal mechanics, I wanted the character to simply feel good to move around. Things like basic movement, turning, stopping, and how the character reacts to player input needed to feel solid first. I had a couple of solid options here. I could have gone with motion matching using the game animation sample or something like ALS. Both are great systems and very production ready. But for this project, my priority is speed, flexibility, and keeping the overall complexity low. I want to be able to iterate quickly, try things out, and change direction if needed, without having to fight against a large framework. So instead, I grabbed a Locomotion animation pack from Fab and brought it into the project. I started with a simple blend space-based locomotion system, very much the old school approach. This kind of movement actually fits really well with the games I'm inspired by, like Prince of Persia and Dante's Inferno. Nothing fancy, just clean inputs, clear states, and predictable behavior. Once that was working, I moved into the animation blueprint and started setting up the locomotion states properly. Just dropping in a blend space wasn't enough for me, though. The movement kind of worked, but something was missing. It didn't really feel right yet. To improve that, I added proper start and stop animations and tuned the transition rules between them. Before this, the character would snap too quickly between moving and standing still, which made everything feel a bit stiff. After adjusting the timings and conditions, the difference was immediately noticeable. Movement feels more grounded, more responsive, and a lot less robotic, especially when changing direction or making small input corrections. Once locomotion was in a good place, the next thing I wanted was for the character to properly look in the direction the player is aiming. Without that, movement felt fine, but the character still felt slightly disconnected from player input. To solve that, I set up a simple aim offset blend space. In the animation blueprint, I calculate the delta between the base aim rotation and the actor's rotation, and then use the resulting pitch and yaw values to drive the aim offset. Once that was hooked up, the character finally started to feel much more connected to the camera and player input. And yeah, that's pretty much it for locomotion for now. It's not perfect, but it's in a good place, and more importantly, it doesn't get in the way of everything else. In the next devlog, I'll be shifting focus to combat, starting with a basic combo system and seeing how that feels on top of this movement setup. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.